Are you ready to dive deep into a city on the verge of a mega transformation? I'm talking massive skyscrapers, the world's biggest sporting event, and some mind-blowing engineering projects. And this is all going down in none other than the land down under. Now, if you're thinking Sydney or Melbourne, think again. This is Brisbane, Australia's fastest growing city, and it's gearing up for a jaw-dropping makeover. And we're not just talking a little facelift here, it's more like a full-body transformation. You see, Brisbane is not yet a household name on the international stage, but it's got some pretty lofty ambitions, which became pretty clear when it clinched the hosting rights for the 2032 Olympic Games. The Games of the 35th Olympiad are awarded to Brisbane, Australia. Impressive, right? But there's a lot more to this Olympic story than just a few sports events. Brisbane's Olympic journey is the spark for a much larger, $6.3 billion, infrastructure explosion. And the crown jewel of this mega transformation is none other than the Cross River Rail, a game changer, the biggest in the state's history. We're talking about a colossal 10.2-kilometer rail line, almost 6 kilometers of that buried beneath the Brisbane River and the bustling central business district. Yes, you heard that right, they're quite literally building a high-speed railway below the heart of downtown Brisbane. The Cross River Rail project doesn't just give us new tunnels, it's throwing in 4 underground stations and sprucing up 8 more. But that's not all. It's also bringing 3 spanking new stations on the Gold Coast, because why not, right? But what's all the fuss about? Well, to break it down for you, we've got Graham, the CEO of the Cross River Rail Delivery Authority, who knows the project inside out. He sums it up perfectly. It's really the biggest infrastructure project in the city's history, and what it'll do is change the way in which people actually move around the city. The crux of the issue lies in Brisbane's geographic makeup. You see, it's defined by a river, and not just any river, but a tidal, meandering, massive one. This waterway creates a barrier, splitting the city into 2 halves. The mighty Brisbane River may be picturesque, but it's also quite the traffic stopper. Right now, there's only one bridge crossing the river, and that's just not cutting it. That single crossing is like a cork in a bottle. It restricts the flow and bogs down the rail network. The region is getting more congested every day, and the current rail system is stretched to its limits. Cross River Rail's mission is to change this, to crack open the city's infrastructure bottleneck, and give it the overhaul it desperately needs. It's like uncorking a fine bottle of champagne. Suddenly, the flavors can flow freely, and the party begins. But this isn't just about fixing traffic, it's about economic growth. Brisbane is booming, with about 1,000 people moving to the region every single week. The 2032 Olympics are around the corner, and they're a part of Brisbane's rebranding as a global destination. Now, with the influx of visitors, the city needs a transport system that's up to par with the world's best. The Cross River Rail is already making waves, and it's not even finished yet. The construction phase itself provides 1,500 jobs each year, which is like a constant injection of economic adrenaline. The project is not just a cost, it's an investment in the future. One report predicts that the benefits will outweigh the costs by a cool $1.9 billion in Australian dollars. For every buck invested, it's set to return $1.41 in benefits to Queenslanders. But there's more. The development, coupled with economic forecasting multipliers, could lead to around $15 to $20 billion in growth and generate approximately 35,000 jobs. It's like giving the city a turbo boost that sends it zooming into the future. The most vital reason for Cross River Rail is Brisbane's booming population. Southeast Queensland is projected to grow from 3.5 million today to a staggering 4.9 million in 2036. In just a few years, it's going to be on par with the likes of Melbourne and Sydney, the big boys on the Australian block. This explosive growth is mostly occurring in the suburbs, with 80% of it happening just outside Brisbane's borders. Simultaneously, 45% of job growth will be concentrated right in the Brisbane metropolitan area. This means that while jobs are sprouting up in the city, people are moving to the suburbs, and that calls for an efficient way to connect the two. Currently, the train stations are a fair hike away from the CBD, which is no good for commuters. So, Brisbane needs a modern rail system to keep up with this rapid transformation. Cross River Rail seeks to unite the city by giving it a second crossing over the river, but this time, they're going under the river. This new rail network aims to relieve the pressure from the current rail network, which is nearing its capacity. It's like getting a brand new highway alongside the old, clogged road. Unleashing this rail system is more than just a transportation upgrade, it's about unlocking the region's colossal economic potential. Brisbane is set to become a super city, as it's expected to grow at an unprecedented rate, and for a growing city, you need a transport system that can handle the load. However, building beneath a major metropolis isn't a walk in the park. The engineering challenges are off the charts. To grasp the enormity of the task, you've got to see it in action. It's like performing open-heart surgery right in the heart of the city, digging an excavation about 50 meters deep below downtown Brisbane. Now, that's deeper than a lot of swimming pools you've ever seen. The Cross River rail tunnels have to weave their way underneath the heart of the city, and these tunnels are not your ordinary ones. They're not just cutting through soft soil, they're plowing through rock as hard as a rock concert at full blast. So, how did they do it? They employed massive tunnel boring machines that chewed through that rock like a hot knife through butter. But the real head-scratcher was the Albert Street Station, sitting a whopping 31 meters below the city's heart. In a densely packed area, where every inch counts, they needed to maximize the available space. These mezzanines, pedestrian spaces directly above the train tracks, came to the rescue. They were like finding hidden treasure right under your feet. But constructing mezzanines in a tunnel? That's no ordinary task. To do this, they used a segmental bridge technique. Sure, building bridges above ground is common, but doing it underground is like trying to surf on a dolphin in your neighbor's swimming pool. Here's how they pulled it off. Each mezzanine beam was precast in massive concrete segments, some weighing up to a whopping 70 tons. Now, that's more massive than a fully grown elephant. These segments were lowered down through a hole in the city center and placed in the tunnels, connecting them into a single, beefy beam. And when I say massive, I mean massive. They even had to custom make equipment to handle these heavyweight segments. It's like assembling a puzzle with pieces as big as your house. Now, when you're dealing with a space as tight as a packed elevator, innovation is the name of the game. They used a digital twin, a virtual version of the Cross River Rail project. Think of it like a 3D video game that lets you explore the entire project as if you were in the driver's seat. It's like having the blueprints of a mega puzzle, and you can look behind the curtain to see what's going on. This digital twin is so detailed that it acts like a superhero's X-ray vision, revealing every detail behind the walls or below the ground. The digital twin isn't just about show and tell, it's a problem-solving wizard. It lets the team spot design flaws before they even rear their ugly heads, saving a ton of time and money. And as the project progresses, it's like having a time-lapse camera capturing every twist and turn of the construction process, so you can see the magic happening in real time. Now, the digital twin isn't just for engineers, it's for everyone. Future train drivers will use it to get a sneak peek of what they're going to face. Members of the public can access it to get a preview of the stations and routes. And it's not just for the public, it's also a handy tool for ministers and the premier to stay in the loop. There's no doubt that the Cross River Rail is going to be a game changer for Brisbane. Early work started back in August 2017, and major construction kicked off in late 2019. The big moment is set for 2026 when the project swings its doors open, well ahead of the 2032 Olympic deadline. The Olympics are not just a sports event, they're a catalyst for change. They've kickstarted this phenomenal transformation that Brisbane is now undergoing. It's like having the biggest New Year's party, and the fireworks haven't even begun yet. So, remember, this is just the beginning. Brisbane is stepping into a decade of unbelievable changes, and the Cross River Rail is leading the way. And if you're eager to dive even deeper into this incredible transformation and other topics like it, head over to the world's best construction podcasts, available wherever you get your podcasts. And, as always, if you're enjoying this video and you're thirsty for more, make sure you're subscribed to the Billionaire Mindset. Now, let's roll up those sleeves because we've got a city to transform, an Olympics to host, and Cross River Rail to ride into the future. It's going to be a wild journey, and we want you right there with us. But hey, before you go, don't forget to check out our video about NEOM's huge update. It's another mind-boggling project that's shaping our future.